$100 million in jury verdicts and settlements for serious injury victims, medical malpractice victims, and surviving family members of wrongful death victims. Trial Lawyers for Justice. This is a firm that does not handle frivolous lawsuits. They go after insurance company money, and they're darn good at it. They don't sell their clients out or settle cheaply. Trial Lawyers for Justice, the firm that goes the distance for you, their client. They treat their clients the way you would want your own family members taken care of. Nicholas Rowley, Dominic Pachota, and the other trial lawyers in the firm at Trial Lawyers for Justice, dedicated to representing the people and their families in Iowa, Minnesota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, Illinois, California, Wyoming, and many other states. Trial Lawyers for Justice. $100 million in settlements and jury verdicts already in 2016. 888-811-0844. Trial Lawyers for Justice.
I'm the sports professor Rick Horrow with Beyond the Scoreboard, the inside look at the trillion-dollar sports business from a legal, marketing, endorsement, deal-making perspective for this week. Let's get started. Major League Baseball ahead of opening day. It's not that far away. Online streaming becomes an increasingly popular way to watch TV. Google entered the race to win over sports fans. YouTube, whose parent company is Google, now offering a web TV service packaging over 40 broadcasts and cable channels for $35 a month. They're set to offer an expansive list of channels as well. All of the NBCs, all of the other big boys. A start date not been announced, but YouTube did confirm it'll roll out the service first in markets where it secured rights. And my take is that the next round of sports rights bids broadly should be one for the ages. The traditionalists, the major networks, versus the newcomers, YouTube and Google, Facebook, Amazon, and the like. The impact, more money for teams like the Red Sox, leagues, and players. By the way, Major League Baseball Advanced Media entering into its 17th year. The Red Sox, a stable with it. Bob Bowman, the head of that organization, should be given major kudos. He started with 30 teams squabbling over internet rights, and now he has a public company which would be valued at over $6 billion on the open market. And teams like the Red Sox get to enhance the brand all over the world by virtue of the tie-in to the internet with their 29 partners. Good for them. Speaking of other issues of baseball, the Cubs now submitting a bid to host the 2020 All-Star Game. Business operations head Crane Kenny said the team been in contact with Rahm Emanuel's office, the mayor of Chicago, to fulfill the requirements. The last time the game was held at Wrigley,
One in three relationships start online, and more start on Match than any other dating site. So if you're single and looking to meet people, you've got to get on Match. They're not only number one in first dates, but in second dates too. Meeting your match has never been easier. Just go to Match.com/together, and for a limited time, you can try Match for 7 days free. That's 7 days completely free to search and connect with thousands on Match. So go ahead, create your account now at Match.com/together. That's Match.com/together.
Are you a business owner or an individual who owes the IRS? Then be prepared to write down an important phone number. Do you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes? Do you need to file back tax returns? Are you dealing with bank levies and wage garnishments? It's time to deal with your IRS problem today. Call Certified Tax Representation now. Certified Tax Representation, Inc. represents clients just like you in all 50 states. They will contact the IRS on your behalf the same day that you become a client, and you can become a client right immediately. It's time for you to face your IRS problems. Think about how great you're going to feel when you're represented by a company who's an advocate for you, who knows the law, who also will contact the IRS the same day you become a client. Call today for your free, no-obligation consultation. Call now, 1-800-999-1064. That's 1-800-999-1064. Not all cases are typical, and some may not qualify. The consultation is free, and so is the call, so call right now. 1-800-999-1064. That's 1-800-999-1064.
Hey, travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first-class tickets.
855-325-1780. 855-325-1780. That's 855-325-1780.
Calling all motorheads. It's time to rise up and pay homage to the Freak Nation. Or just flip your fat radio on to Speed Freaks every Sunday night at 7 Pacific on the Sports Byline USA Network. Join me, Kenny Sargent, with Statman and Crash Gladys for a freak of a good time as we drop in on the biggest names in motorsports, from IndyCar to NASCAR, the drags to Supercross, and a big-time rock and roll band from time to time. That's Speed Freaks, Sunday nights at 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern on the Sports Byline USA Broadcast Network.
I'm the sports professor Rick Horrow with Beyond the Scoreboard, the inside look at the trillion-dollar sports business from a legal, marketing, endorsement, deal-making perspective for this week. Let's get started. First of all, the NFL. On the heels of the NFL Combine in Indy, an economic impact study from the league's international series game in Mexico City revealed a big increase in the city's GDP. Nearly 3,000 jobs, with the Texans and Raiders supporting them, 9,500 international fans, 21,500 fans traveling from other parts of Mexico to get into the action. The numbers come as great news for the NFL, expanding its international footprint in all directions. And here's my take. Most recent news about Mexico, you know this, it hadn't been good. However, the combo of the WGC World Championship and the long-term interest for the NFL in Mexico, welcome news for our southern neighbor. And as it relates to the Patriots, the brand transcends. It is the biggest deal, the biggest team, the biggest legacy. We all know that. And the NFL asks the Patriots to play in London. They ask the Patriots to be a brand ambassador all over, and Mexico is no exception. Well, look at the draft and look at the combine. When you look at the draft numbers, the first outdoor draft being hyped weeks ahead of the selection show, Philly expecting 200,000 football fans to show up at the outdoor theater being constructed in front of the Philadelphia Museum of Art. The indoor theater only seats about 3,000 and limited, yet the event should bring hundreds of thousands to the city center. And to keep fans engaged, the standing room on the Parkway will be transformed into a festival size of 25 football fields, open free to the public before and during the draft. The cost is about $25 million. But the economic impact really significant, and the cost covered by the NFL. And my take is this. The draft joins the Pro Bowl and the Super Bowl as the NFL's rotating mega events, each year expected to outdraw, out-hustle, outperform the predecessor, leading to more leverage, better public support, and more choices for NFL public-private partnerships. My take on New England is this. The draft may be another one of those opportunities to bring the draft to Boston Common, to downtown Boston, to Gillette Stadium. Who knows? But clearly, the Patriots being a very important brand in the NFL, the Combine not going anywhere for the next 5 years, the Pro Bowl probably too cold for an outdoor stadium, and the Super Bowl not played in outdoor stadiums now anyway, but the draft, one of the big deals, and the economic impact to follow. But how about stadiums in other locations around the NFL, like Oakland? Well, the Oakland Raiders clearly looking for that new home, and the company called the Fortress Investment Group not giving up on its goal to keep the Raiders in Oakland. But Mayor Libby Schaaf does give a presentation to the NFL committee on this issue just now and says, we want to get a deal done, short on specifics, long on excitement. The other issue is possibly the key to Vegas. Bank of America just makes a commitment. They have more dollars available to put the final pieces of the puzzle together for Vegas. And my take is this. The Vegas deal has a much stronger financial foundation. Public support and NFL Raiders equity. What Oakland has is a tradition of fan support and the presumption that the process be given one last best chance to work. For New England fans, it might seem indirect, but as goes the lowest value team in the NFL, so goes the rest of the NFL. It's no stronger than its weakest link. So even if the Patriots are up there with teams like the Cowboys as far as value, the Raiders need to get their situation solved and quickly, or it'll affect everybody. Let's shift to hockey, but stay in Vegas. The Vegas Golden Knights, officially an NFL team. According to the Vegas Review-Journal, owner Bill Foley made the third and final $500 million expansion payment on behalf of the franchise. The most extensive transaction he's ever done, he said, and he's made $5 billion deals. He said even my wife had to sign 20 documents. Other NHL team owners and Commissioner Gary Bettman quick to congratulate Foley on officially joining the league, the 31st expansion franchise. General Manager George McPhee trying to make magic in the desert, and he's also trying to figure out how to put a competitive team on the ice as the deal gets done and see how we can move forward with it. And here's my take on Vegas. They went from being radioactive as a franchise location to the home of one and maybe two in the not-too-distant future. Fan orientation, significant public money, and tourism infrastructure all add to the possibility for success. As it impacts the Bruins, maybe a couple of fairly easy wins next year, but more importantly, that $500 million expansion tag raises the values for everybody in the NHL. And even though the 31 teams might cause some scheduling difficulty, it is more than countered by the fact that the NHL continues to value its assets more and more and more every day. With the goal of turning their arena into a 12-month destination, the Blackhawks unveil the newly renovated east side of the United Center. 190,000 square feet for a new atrium. The premier Chicago franchise engages fans with new restaurant centers, other things, and nice bit of extra revenue for teams. Facility renovations all over the country enter new phases, and the Blackhawks are one. Lease renegotiations, financial creativity, high-tech tweaks, new space for merchandise and concessions, obviously better for the fans as well. And so when you look at the NHL, the Warrior Ice Arena and the TD Garden, clearly important for Boston fans, but it also gives a model for other cities to do some really good things with over time. Let's shift to March Madness, an important issue for everybody. Pizza Hut, for example, stepping up its game with high-top sneakers allowing their wearers to order pizza with the push of a button. Unbelievable. Pizza Hut handing out 64 pairs of their top pie tops in order to honor the 64 teams that actually compete in March Madness. Bluetooth enabled, making ordering pizza as easy as it can be. They also have Grant Hill playing basketball in the shoes before sitting down, pressing the button on the tongue of the shoes, and having a two-topping pizza delivered moments after. Pizza Hut VP Media and Advertising David Daniels said, "We're planning to feature the pie tops with on-air talent. They haven't announced yet which people will wear and interact with the shoes during the broadcast. I can't wait." Here's my take. never too early for basketball promotion, especially with ongoing streaming, constant hype and promotion.
Hey there, did you know that with a bachelor's degree, on average, you could make almost twice as much over a lifetime than a person with just a high school diploma? It's true. According to the 2012 U.S. Census Bureau, college grads with a bachelor's degree make almost twice as much as high school grads. Now, going back to school is easier than ever at Independence University. Log on and complete coursework from the park, or the beach, or even your couch watching the kids. And Independence University gives you the tools, a free tablet and laptop for undergrad students to use and keep when they graduate. That's right. Get a laptop so you can go to college from anywhere. Take the first step to a new career in business, information technology, healthcare, or graphic arts. Call to find the online degree program that's right for you, and you could be on your way to increasing your earning potential.
800-797-1256. 800-797-1256. That's 800-797-1256.
This family is at home, but they won't be answering the door. They know that the pounding on the door is a process server from the court waiting to hand them foreclosure documents. So instead of enjoying the home they worked so hard to afford, they sit hiding in the dark.
Mom, what was that?
But it doesn't have to be this way. This family can save their home, but they must act fast. Call Allied State Foreclosure Solutions at 800-274-7312. If you're being threatened with foreclosure, have been denied a loan modification, missed a payment on your mortgage, been a victim of a predatory loan, or are upside down on your home, it's critical that you call Allied State Foreclosure Solutions now. 800-274-7312. Allied State Foreclosure Solutions has an attorney in your area that will meet and speak with you. You can stop the foreclosure process, lower your monthly mortgage payments, save your home and your credit, but you must act now. Call 800-274-7312. 800-274-7312.
Not available in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now, 800-480-5708. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-480-5708. That's 800-480-5708. Again, 800-480-5708.
I'm the sports professor Rick Horrow with Beyond the Scoreboard, the inside look at the trillion-dollar sports business from a legal, marketing, endorsement, deal-making perspective for this week. Let's get started. Finally, let's talk about soccer and international sports. First, the MLS. Off the field, on the field, the 2017 Open has been bookended by two new expansion franchises. Atlanta United, the newcomer, sold more than 30,000 season tickets, millennials and Hispanic fans alike. 8 games at Georgia Tech's Bobby Dodd Stadium initially, before moving into Mercedes-Benz Stadium later this summer. And in Minneapolis, Minnesota United, confident the club's first home match as an MLS franchise will exceed 30,000 tickets at TCF Bank Stadium. Orlando City FC gets the new stadium they built with a team-imposed limit of 12,000 season ticket sales, and they've continued to move into the top level of support. MLS Don Garber watched Real Salt Lake draw about 20,000 fans for its match against Toronto FC, and an expansion franchise application in San Diego includes Landon Donovan as a new member of its ownership group. San Diego could well be a test case. Is soccer chipping away at the NFL's American sports dominance? Well, my take for Boston fans is this. The revolution in their existing stadium, acceptable, but Robert Kraft continues to look for a new home. Take a look at all of the new openings. Minnesota, obviously, Orlando, obviously, new facilities, higher support, significant public-private partnership. Boston, a clear soccer haven, needs the similar kind of process. But follow the big boys from international soccer. We're talking sleeve sponsorships, up to $12.4 million more for sponsorships valued with sponsor dollars and logos on the sleeves. It's 1/5 of a main kit sponsor, but it means the clubs such as Manchester United, receiving about $59 million a year from Chevy to be on its shirts, could see a further $11 million invested in the clubs. Contract stipulations today see main kit sponsors for a couple of the EPL teams mean a few notable clubs will not be able to participate in that deal for next season because of those contracts, but there's more money, so certainly they're going to find it. My take is this. Purists beware. The EPL looking more like NASCAR every day. Why wouldn't it? Especially if an unused square inch of clothing could now command over $12 million annually for each club. Don't look for the same kind of dollars in the MLS, but certainly for Boston soccer fans, look for another kind of sponsor displayed on uniforms sometime soon. Finally, the selection of the Olympic Games, an issue that impacted Bostonians a couple of years ago. LA still in the running for 2024 selection, hiring international firm Weber Shandwick. They help support winning Olympic bids for the 2022 Beijing Games, Tokyo, and Sochi. And unlike past projects, the firm doesn't have to roll out the domestic campaign in LA to win over public support. 88% of the city already supports the bid. Budapest pulls out. Paris and LA look like they're coming down to the wire. And here's my take. We all know the Olympic selection process, an inherently political issue, and PR message will focus on legacy, infrastructure support, and the expectation that the U.S. should participate in the Summer Games sooner than later. Look for drama in the boardroom between now and the end of the summer. And for Bostonians, Marty Walsh's decision as the mayor to pull out, is it a great decision because expense that doesn't have to be made, or is it a decision that people would regret next summer if LA gets the 2024 games? We'll just have to see. Well, that's our pretty interesting and diverse list for the week, based on all sports and the impact on New England football fans, basketball fans, baseball, hockey, soccer, and international events. And join us next week when we go Beyond the Scoreboard.
And now, as usual, like we do every week on Beyond the Scoreboard, we bring you an exclusive interview with a leader and shaker in the sports business, sports landscape. This week, we bring you Joe DeSena, founder and CEO of the Spartan Race and the Death Race. Welcome to Beyond the Scoreboard with Rick Horrow. I'm Tanner Simpkins. I'm in for Rick today. We've got a great show for you, one of the best interviews we've had in a long time. Every week we bring you a featured interview, an expert in the field, an expert in sports business, mega events, sports economics, sports finance, sports law, sports tech, whatever it is, whatever the intersection is with business and sports is what we cover this week. It's a guy from Queens, an entrepreneur from birth, a go-getter, founder of the Spartan Race, founder of the Death Race, Joe DeSana. We're going to get into everything about Joe. First of all, Joe, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself for those who may not be familiar.
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in Queens, New York. My mother introduced me to a 3,000-mile run back then in Queens called the Transcendence Run. About 8 participants attempt to do it every year, even today. And that just opened my mind up that we are all capable of doing a lot more than we think we can. So spent 20-plus years doing Ironman races, eco challenges, racing the Iditarod across Alaska by foot. And one day decided, you know what, I want to start this as a business. I want to change lives and build an Olympic sport. And so that's what we're talking about today.
Joe, you're a Cornell guy, Cornell alum. Did that schooling, did that business environment have anything to do with this idea and the growth of the company, or would this have happened regardless of that Ivy League background?
I was an entrepreneur from Queens. The neighborhood I grew up in, everybody was up at 5 a.m. hustling and figuring out some way to get ahead. And so it was only a matter of time as I was participating in races myself that I was going to turn this into a business. No matter what race I did, I thought, gee, it would be cool if we did it this way. It would be cool if I started a business that did this. And finally, in 2010, I said, we're going to do a military-inspired obstacle race. This is really has its roots in, you go way back in the Olympics. This is a human sport, and I think people are going to like it. And didn't work right away. We started, and 700 people showed up, and it just wasn't enough to make money. And so we lost a lot of money to get here. But now the world has accepted this as a sport, and super exciting.
You mentioned international activity in the world stage. I know you just had your World Championships this past fall in Lake Tahoe. Put us on the ground out there. What was that like? Were the participants coming from all across the world? We know, obviously, that the presenting sponsor for Spartan Race is Reebok, so I imagine there was a lot more B2B activity there. What was the sponsorship levels like? Just kind of give us a quick 1-2 on both the race itself, scaling up to it, and some business fundamentals.
Yeah, so basically we recognized early on that to be an Olympic sport, we're going to have to have a championship. We're going to have 42 countries involved. We're going to have rules and regulations and timing and officiating and so forth. And so we started to put all those things in place.
By standing on the wall, get your back up off the wall. Tell me, how you gonna do it if you really don't wanna dance? By standing on the wall, get your back up off the wall. 'Cause I heard all the people saying, get down on it. Come on and get down on it. If you really want it, get down on it. You gotta feel it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Come on and get down on it. Baby, baby, get down on it. Get on it. What you gonna do? You gotta get on. by standing on the wall. Get your back up off the wall. Tell me, how you gonna do it if you really won't take a chance? By standing on the wall. Get your back up off the wall. 'Cause I heard all the people saying, get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. When you're dancing, get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Sha-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-doo. What you gonna do? Do you wanna get down? What you gonna do? Get your back up off the wall. Dance, come on. Get your back up off the wall. Dance, come on. Get down on it. Come on and get down on it. If you really want it, get down on it. You gotta feel it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down. Come on and get down on it. Baby, baby. Get down on it. Get down. Get on it. Get down on it. How you gonna do it if you really don't want to dance? By standing on the wall. Get your back up off the wall. Tell me, baby, how you gonna do it if you really won't take a chance? By standing on the wall. Get your back up off the wall. Listen, baby, you know it. When you're dancing, yeah, you show it. When you move, 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 you know it. When you're dancing, yeah, you show it. As you move across the floor, get down on it. Come on and get down on it. If you really want it, get down on it. You gotta feel it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it.
You're listening to the Sports Byline USA Broadcast Network.
If you or someone you love suffers from drug addiction, now is the time to utilize your private health insurance PPO plan. If eligible, receive up to $30,000 or more in substance abuse benefits with low or no out-of-pocket cost. We are the National Treatment Network, the premier drug and alcohol treatment referral service operating 24/7. We help connect you with facilities nationwide that accepts PPO private health insurance for substance abuse. If you have PPO substance abuse coverage and you need immediate admittance to a medical detox or residential rehab treatment center, call us now. Call our live referral helpline today. The call is free. This program is not available to Medicare or Medicaid customers.
Call 800-296-0906. 800-296-0906. 800-296-0906. That's 800-296-0906.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-480-5708. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-480-5708. That's 800-480-5708. Again, 800-480-5708.
Nobody really needs or wants home security until it's too late. You've heard the statistics about how many burglaries there are per day. You see the news. You know there are people out there that do bad things. The best way to help protect your home and your property is with an ADT monitored system from Protect Your Home, an ADT authorized premier provider. Call right now to get a free wireless home security system valued at $850. An ADT monitored system can help protect your home from fires, theft, floods, and call for emergency help. Call now to find out more about our $850 free wireless home security system and start enjoying the peace of mind of security today. Call 800-587-4281, 800-587-4281, 800-587-4281. This offer is for new customers only. Termination fees apply. $99 customer installation charge and 36-month monitoring agreement required. All for details. License terms and conditions available at secureathome.com.
Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard with Rick Horrow. I'm Tanner Simpkins, in for Rick. Now we pick up where we left off with our interview with Joe DeSena, founder and CEO of the Spartan Race.
I personally was not going to get involved in something that wasn't authentic and real and legitimate and getting people healthy. So what I mean by that is I wasn't really looking for a business to start, another business. I was looking to change lives. And so that meant we had to have timing. We had to hold people accountable. Every obstacle we would put in place had to be athletic in nature. We weren't just going to hurt people. Yes, people were going to come out and have a good time, but it wasn't about holding hands and drinking beer. This was a sport, and you were going to start training for it. You were going to go to bed earlier. You're going to wake up earlier. Just like any other sport, you were going to be committed, and you were going to see what you could put out there when race day came. And so that's how we differentiated ourselves from the pack. The problem was, by doing that, it scared some people, right? So the early days, you weren't going to get the masses showing up. The masses typically show up for parties. Not everybody shows up at 5:30 in the morning to train in the park. You just go out early in the morning and you can look for yourself, versus going out at night and seeing how inundated the bars and clubs are with people, right? So we chose this tact. And now, 7 years later, it's turned out that we were right, because we are now the largest endurance company in the world, bar none. We've got 1 million participants a year competing. We're in 30 countries. We'll have over 200 events. And I attribute that to the direction we took, which was, this is not a fad. This is not some music pumping party. Not to take anything away from that. But this is a legitimate sport that everybody could participate in. And the reason that's important is, not everybody could throw the skates on and go play hockey or go play a game of hoops or play football, right? If they didn't learn the sport well enough, they're not going to jump into a game and do well. Here, every human body, big, small, short, fat, skinny, doesn't matter, is designed to run, crawl, climb, jump, swim. And so you see everybody coming out. Doesn't matter the culture, doesn't matter the size or shape, competing. And I think our methodology got us to where we are.
So take us back to, 2009, 2010, when this experiential economy was just picking up. And we mentioned earlier some competitors that you had to differentiate away from, to segment away from. Fast forward till now, you are the world's largest endurance brand. I have that here. I have some of these numbers. I mean, all these millions of participants from all over the world, 30-plus locations all over the world. Tell us about that process, about growing the brand and scaling up. How did you get the Spartan Race from an area where you had to kind of rub shoulders with similar brands and then push your way against them and to segment against them from a somewhat cluttered space until now when you're bar none the leader in the field? Tell us about that journey.
Well, they say it's always about the journey, right? And I don't know about that, because I've got a lot of gray hairs and I spent a lot of money to get where we are today. But I guess reflecting back, I wouldn't change a thing. It was really, really difficult, just like starting any business. My wife and I will argue all the time. I'll say, I think running a business is harder than giving childbirth, and she'll kick me and say that's BS. But we'll leave that to the women out there listening that have both run a business and given birth. It was just a knife fight every single day. It was letting the world know what we are, what we stand for, how authentic we are, why we want this to be a sport. We want this to be in the Olympics. And eventually it stuck. I think we got a little lucky, like with any business. I think the fact that we have the name Spartan as our brand name helped tremendously, because that word just exudes everything we are. Everybody just gets it when they read the word Spartan on a T-shirt or digitally or whatever. I think they love our stories. We've had people lose hundreds and hundreds of pounds, saved marriages, got people off drugs and alcohol. And so I think there's some really deep-rooted, awesome things that the sport, the way we approach it, does, and so that's exciting. I think it was smart and lucky that we went to 30 countries quickly, because I think there's a network effect across the world. So the fact that we were in Hong Kong or Saudi Arabia or Mexico or Brazil, people know each other, and that resonated quickly around the world. So the brand became a global brand almost overnight, and that helped us. So there were some things we did that weren't necessarily by design, but we just got lucky that have put us in a position to be this number one endurance brand. And I can't believe, when you look at Ironman or you look at New York Marathon, these are incredible brands that are worth $1 billion. Ironman sold for to Wanda. That took 35 plus years to build. And so we really have to kiss the ground we're walking on and say, God, we somehow did it in 7 years. And I think that's a testament to the hundreds of people that work for Spartan that just really bled. It sounds like the movie 300, but they literally bled to get us where we are today. This is a 7-day-a-week, 24-hour day. The sun never sets on Sparta, right? And we, you hear it all the time from CEOs, but I'm telling you, we couldn't do it without this extremely committed team.
Joe DeSana, ladies and gentlemen, grinding early on, an entrepreneur from Queens, Cornell alum, Wall Street guy, has this idea, puts together the business plan, funds it, builds it, all in about 6 or 7 years. Now you're in 30-plus countries. That international exposure was strategic, like you mentioned early on. What were those early days like, though, when you were at these venues? They're not permanent venues. Setting these events up, these races up with foreign language, no consumer base whatsoever in these new locations, those sound like some pretty significant hurdles.
Very, very hard, as you can imagine, to go into Eastern Europe or Mexico, and we didn't have a wall between us and Mexico back then, and it was hard. So no, you've got to deal with the culture. You've got to deal with rules and regulations you're not used to, language barriers, just different ways of doing things. And so, I wish I could say it was easy. It is not easy. And the other interesting thing that viewers might get a kick out of, there's a lot of companies we perceive as global companies. Visualize the big automobile companies, visualize the big sneaker and clothing companies as examples, or even an NBC, for example. And so we quickly wanted to partner with these large global brands because we were global. And surprisingly, most companies are actually not that global that you think they are, but they have partnerships in different countries. They don't necessarily have people on the ground. They work in silos. And so it became very hard to mesh with some of these other companies because they didn't have the capabilities in the countries we were in. Not to say that we're bigger than the companies I just described. We're not. It's just that in order to have a 10,000-person race in Saudi Arabia or in England or wherever, we've got to have boots on the ground. And so we have boots on the ground in 30 countries. And it's difficult to find companies, even the big ones that I just described, that have those capabilities across that large of a land area.
And winning out like you did, Joe, how did that happen? The Spartan race has a lot of things going for it, obviously. But what was it necessarily? Was it all these millions of followers on social media? I know you engage your fans and your racers on social networks, that network phenomenon. Did that have anything to do with the growth, with winning out? If not, what were some other contributing factors?
It's a combination of things. I think one, it's authenticity. That there's a founder, me, that actually believes in what we're doing. So it wasn't just a business plan where we sat in business school and said we're going to make money. It was less about making money and more about purpose. So I think that's important. That's not something you just say. That's something you do, and we're doing it. Two, we got really lucky with the name Spartan, as I suggested. That name just, who doesn't want to be a Spartan, right? Everybody wants to be a Spartan for a day. And so we got lucky there. Three, we had great people, and those great people sat around for the last 7 years, or stood around. I can't see anybody sitting down. And we planned and got lucky with some of the decisions we made. The 3 distance races we have, the push towards the Olympics, the types of obstacles we built, the locations we picked, the partnership with NBC, the partnership with Reebok, the partnership with the U.S. Army. There were things that were strategic, but you also have to get lucky. You could have a strategy, but it's hard to implement. And so we got lucky that many of those things we thought about actually came to fruition. It didn't hurt that the movie 300 existed, right? So that's in people's minds. It didn't hurt that people were coming back from the war. CrossFit was exploding. So you got all these people in these 8,000 gyms that are looking for a way to test their workouts, right? It's one thing to go into the gym every day. How do you find out if it's working or not? Well, you go do a Spartan race. So that helped. And I think the other thing is I just don't sleep. I'm 24/7, right? I'm talking to you right now. It's 5:45 in the morning here in Tokyo, and I think people out there that want to be entrepreneurs or are entrepreneurs that think that they're going to have more free time by not having a traditional job and running their own business are seriously mistaken. I don't get a moment. It is 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and I bet you anybody that running a business, if you ask that question to, will tell you the same thing. So I'm just thankful we have a staff that stays at that pace as well, because to be in 30 countries and be 6 or 7 years old as a company, we're stretched thin all day, every day.
Great stuff, Joe. We always like to end our show with forward-looking, kind of what's next on the horizon with our guests. The next 5 years, let's call it the next 5 years. What's next with Spartan Race? What's next with Joe DeSana? What's next with the whole landscape of experiential entertainment? I know you're a big proponent of working in the Spartan Race or something similar, some type of similar event into the Olympics. You can comment on that, but just give us a breakdown of the next 5 years, trends, developments. Fill us in.
Well, if my wife was awake right now, I'd say maybe we'll have another child. I don't know how that, we'll have to check that in the next 5 years. And then we're going to be in the Olympics for sure. I commit to that publicly, and it's going to happen. I don't know if we'll be in we're not going to be in 2020, but maybe 2024, which is outside your 5-year question. The industry will be thriving. We're gonna not only is it going to be as big as it is today, but it'll be bigger. We'll be in more countries, and this will be recognized by the world over. Whether no matter religion, no matter culture, no matter where you go, high schools will be embracing it, colleges will be embracing it, the military will be embracing it. This will exist everywhere we look as a legitimate sport. So that's my bet.
There you have it, folks. Straight from the man's mouth. Joe DeSana, thank you so much for being on the show. Author, entrepreneur, world-class businessman. We appreciate you. We'll be following the Spartan Race and rooting for you all along. This is Beyond the Scoreboard with Rick Horrow. I'm Tanner Simpkins, in for Rick, signing off. Until next time.
Are you a business owner or an individual who owes the IRS? Then be prepared to write down an important phone number. Do you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes? Do you need to file back tax returns? Are you dealing with bank levies and wage garnishments? It's time to deal with your IRS problem today. Call Certified Tax Representation now. Certified Tax Representation, Inc. represents clients just like you in all 50 states. They will contact the IRS on your behalf the same day that you become a client, and you can become a client. client immediately. It's time for you to face your IRS problems. Think about how great you're going to feel when you're represented by a company who's an advocate for you, who knows the law, who also will contact the IRS the same day you become a client. Call today for your free, no-obligation consultation. Call now, 1-800-999-1064. That's 1-800-999-1064. Not all cases are typical, and some may not qualify. The consultation is free, and so is the call, so call right now. 1-800-999-1064. That's 1-800-999-1064.
Are you an inventor who would like to try to have an invention or idea patented and submitted to companies? But you don't know what to do next? Call for free information from InventHelp. InventHelp, a leading inventor service company, has been helping inventors since 1984 and has sales offices located in more than 60 cities nationwide. You'll want to talk to the company that has helped secure more than 7,000 invention patents. So call InventHelp. Even if you have an idea for improving an existing product and don't know where to go with it, you'll still want to call InventHelp for free information. You'll find out how InventHelp may assist you in trying to patent your invention and submit it to companies. So call now.
Call InventHelp at 1-800-316-1738. That's 1-800-316-1738. Get your free information by dialing 1-800-316-1738. That's 1-800-316-1738. 1-800-316-1738.
When you struggle with credit card bills every month, you're not just in debt. Debt is all around you.
I see people every day that are on the brink. They're going to go over the edge, and at the bottom is bankruptcy, and we pull them back.
At the Debt Helpline, we're experts at helping you resolve your debt problems and become free of debt. We can help you pay off your debt and give you one lower monthly payment that you can afford.
You do get to consolidate your payments. You only have to worry about making one payment a month instead of making 3 or 4 or 5.
If you have $5,000, $10,000 or more in credit card bills, call the Debt Helpline now for a free confidential debt analysis.
800-957-6063. 800-957-6063. Call the CESI Debt Helpline right now for a free confidential debt review. 800-957-6063. 800-957-6063.
I'm the sports professor Rick Horrow with Beyond the Scoreboard, the inside look at the trillion-dollar sports business from a legal, marketing, endorsement, deal-making perspective for this week. Let's get started.
The mega impact of the NFL after the Combine. Combine coming and going with a $20 million economic impact for the city of Indianapolis and giving general managers some significant content for interviews with players in their underwear and an incredibly difficult, interesting, made-for-TV event by the NFL Network over a number of days. The studies show that the NFL does never sleep. Economic impact from last year's Houston Texans-Oakland Raider game in Mexico City, 80,000 people, 21,000 coming from other parts of Mexico, and an economic impact of over $45 million, and potentially a permanent place for a Mexican game in the NFL's rotation after the World Golf Championship mega event as well. And also the studies being done about the NFL draft. Chicago for 2 years now, outdoors in Philadelphia, 3,000-seat indoor theater at the Museum of Art, but also hundreds of thousands of places for people and diehard Eagle fans across the Common as the draft happens a few weeks from now. Clearly, the economic impact of the NFL's events huge, and it adds to the $25 billion annual revenue aspiration Roger Goodell sets for his staff in the coming years. I'm the sports professor Rick Horrow, and this is Beyond the Scoreboard. The Cubs applying for the All-Star game in 2020. They've already done something that nobody could have believed, including having me put this shirt up in my office till the day I die as a Cub fan. The next generation may look at some things off the field as well. The last time the Chicago Cubs have the All-Star game at Wrigley Field was 1990, a long time since a 2020 application. And Major League Baseball uses these games as leverage to reward stadium renovation, community development, increased awareness. In the Cubs' case, doing something for the